afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for joining us. I am Dr. Adebayo, and this is our live series. Our guest is trying to call me. Let me talk to him that we are live. Let me add him. Okay, I'll send him the invite. We'll join us shortly, and we are here to talk about what happens when you relocate. Our Japa Chronicles. He's my friend of many years, and he's recently relocated. Let me just let him. Okay. It's unable to join. Why isn't he unable to join? Okay. Okay, you joined. Okay, now it's now with us. Yes, accept. Yeah, let's go live. What's up? Okay, and finally we are live. Okay, good to see you. Emoji himself.
Hello.
Doctor, thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you. And I hope our friends, people will start to join, people will start to know, okay, that we are live. Okay, and I see people are joining. So if you are joining us, just share, let people know that we are live. And it's Japa Chronicles. Japa Chronicles. You're taking a look at the Japa syndrome. Okay, your people are already hailing you. Okay. I hope that's not my internet connection. We're having some buffering there.
Okay.
Okay. Are we good now?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Okay, so everybody that's joining us, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have my friend of many years here with us as we discuss Japa Chronicles. Some people before now have called him the Japa Apostle. But he will tell us a little bit more about that. But I'll let him introduce himself. I'll also introduce what we do here. This is Inspiration Republic. After a while, many years, talking with him, talking with some friends, I just felt that it was important that we try to encourage people. All things, no matter where you are on the face of the earth, there can be good things, there can be bad things. What happens inside us is really important as we try to encourage ourselves to be the best wherever we are. And so that's what brought Inspiration Republic. Inspiration Republic is an online magazine website. You can just visit it, inspirationrepublic.ng. A lot of interesting, fantastic things there for you to read, subscribe, follow us across all our social media handles as you do so. So my friend is here with me, my friend of many years, pastor, colleague, secondary school classmate. We know each other for over 30 years. And we have our differences, and it will speak to us today about this matter. So Japa's Chronicles, people want to go abroad. I know you have, well, let's just start from that. Why do people want to go abroad? I know you've recently relocated to Canada. When you just say, you have gone, you have left me here. But why did you relocate? Why do people want to relocate? And what do you think about this relocation? What do you think? Why do people relocate? And what do you have to say to it?
Okay, so thank you, Doctor. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited, having to talk to a lot of people. I'm hoping that a lot of people will be able to listen to this, and will be able to gain a lot from this, because I must say that this is a topic I'm not sure we can exhaust in one day. Because
I'll continue next week. If we don't finish today, we'll continue.
I know that we are going to have a lot of questions, and it's important that as much as possible we're able to answer this question so people can know exactly what they are doing. I can see many people are joining right now who are even already outside the country, who are, and I'm sure they just want to listen, because it's not just about those who are left, who are in Nigeria, but people who have also moved, who also want to know what's next for me. What do I have to do? What do I expect? Because there are a lot of things about it, and many people, because they don't know, either get confused, or they get fed up, they get distressed about the whole process, and then they feel like nothing is working or it's not supposed to be. So let me say this first, that the concept of the word Japa, we had a meeting in church a few months ago where we called Japa anointing, and the whole thing went viral in the whole world and was an issue. People were wondering, and I mean, you need to know how that thing came by. Okay, so we're just supposed to have a meeting. My staff in the office was talking to me and said, what do we title the meeting? And I mean, she just gave a suggestion. I said, since it's about praying for those who want to travel, she said, let's just use the word Japan. That's how the word just came, and before we knew it, it had become something else. But basically, we know that in Nigeria, it means traveling outside the country, relocation. Sometimes it's not absolute migration. It's not leaving never to come back. No, sometimes it's just, you want to leave for a while, either to study, either to visit, either for exposure, or you just want to relocate, absolutely, for greener pastures. So basically, that's why people travel, and I have every conviction in my heart. Like you said, I know we have differences in I know that when I speak to people, a lot of people fight me about it. And somebody called one time and said, you are depleting the nation's resources. I said, see, the nation's resources will naturally deplete if certain things are not in place. It's just a natural occurrence. However, that's just what Japa actually means. Yeah.
Okay, so why do they leave? And what do you have to say to them? Why do they leave? What do you think about they've left?
So like I said earlier, number one, some people leave because for exposure. They want to go and get exposed, because you cannot. There are several things, like someone said one time, you will say your father's farm is the biggest until you have visited another man's farm. You just assume, So the truth is, there are people in Nigeria who feel that what they have right now and the life they're living right now is the best they can ever get. There are children in the village that just believe that this is the best of life, and it's not true. It's not true. I mean, we need exposure. We need to know that there are several more things that can happen in the world, or that we can do with our lives, than what is happening. See, let me tell you, imagine that right now in our country, there are places where they believe that it's natural to have a borehole in your house. It's just natural, and which is not true. Everybody has become their own local government. You have your own bowl, you have your own generator, you have become your own nation. You are the president of your house. And that's not what it ought to be. People don't even know. Do you know that people who don't even know the concept of tax in our country? They don't even know that government collects tax and it's supposed to be used for the welfare of the citizens, for good roads, for water, for electricity. They don't even know that. It's amazing. So exposure is important. When you go out, you can see what a road should look like. You can see what houses should look like. You can see what care should look like. So exposure is number one. Number two, people travel to gain more knowledge. That's for academic reasons, which is very important. I tell people, whether you like it or not, the people who are ruling our country today are people who have studied outside the country because they do more research. You have studied in Israel. You have been outside the country. You have to go there for a reason. And that's the same thing with many other people. They have to go. They have to go study, get more knowledge, come back to the country and can effect a change because we don't have that platform, to do a lot of research, and that affects the level of knowledge, and academics that we deliver. So for many people, they have to go for academics, and you see that's what's happening for people who travel to the UK today. Everybody's traveling to go do their masters, go do their degree, go to school, and which is very important. That which I think I love is that's a good part. So we have for exposure, we have for academics, for knowledge. Number three, for survival. For survival. Somehow,
are you saying you are not surviving here? Can you survive?
I'll tell you. Let me say this. Let me tell you one truth. Do you know that you and I somehow know someone somewhere who probably will still be alive had they not been in that country? Sincerely speaking, they probably would have still been alive. I don't want to talk about the many issues in our country, but the truth about it is there are a lot of things going on that are not normal. I was traveling to the UK about 6 years ago, 7 years, I can't remember, 6 years ago. I was in the flight. I was in BA. I was from Nigeria, Lagos to Gatwick. I was in the flight and I met a young man. So we got talking, where he was trying to take some liquid, some water. And I said, so how you doing? So when are you coming back to Nigeria? And then I just noticed, the moment I said it, his countenance, his mood changed. And I was like, what happened? I said, I said, God forbid I will never come back. So I had to ask him, what is wrong? He gave me a story that stuck with me for life. That has stuck with me. You know what he said? He said, you know what? He said, last year, I just got married. He said, I just got married to my wife. She's a very wonderful lady, Christian. She prays. She said, I call her the pastor of my house. He said, and then we went for honeymoon. We just got married. We went for honeymoon. We're coming back from our honeymoon when we were attacked by some bandits. And then she said it was around the Port Harcourt area. So they took them into the creek. And, he said, in fact, they shot. They almost hit him. Took them into the creek. And then a lot of things were happening. They separated he and his wife. After about 4 hours of walking, in the creek, in the mud, he said he just had a gunshot. The end of it was basically, they told him he should go and meet his wife by the roadside, that the wife is there. When he got there, found the wife lying dead. He ran to a police station. Can you please help me? The police people said, we don't have fuel in our car, in our vehicle, to go help you. Amazing. He said that's how he lost his wife. And he made up his mind that the last thing, you can imagine, he has a nostalgia of what has happened to him. He would never return to such a country. I can tell you that there are many people in our country who are going through such issues. I mean, we just think some things are normal, health-wise,
I agree that Nigeria has challenges, right? But the reality is that there's no nation on the face of the earth that doesn't have challenges. All nations have their own share of challenges. If you say you met someone going to UK, knife crime, right? The cost of living crisis is happening right now in the UK. A lot of people are having challenges. If you go to Canada, the native population, a lot of Canada where you are now, a lot of the indigenous people riddled with crime, drugs, kidnapping. A lot of the missing women just go and they disappear. They are indigenous women. the law of historical. There's some things, the standard of the basic standard of living is a little bit higher. I know if we keep discussing this, you and I, like I said, we'll probably not agree. We don't agree too much.
Let me give you a point. Let me give you a point. Let me give you a point, Doctor. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know that the first thing at the lowest table is survival, is basic needs. Food, shelter, clothing. And without that, there is no way that you can live. That has to be sorted in the life of anyone. Now, the truth is this. Nigeria has failed to, help provide this for the average human being who lives in there. And if I don't survive, I don't want to hear any other thing from you.
See, the point is this. I agree with you that there are so many indexes, the ADI, the Human Development Index, the Poverty Index, the Misery Index. If you look at whatever index you want to, hunger index, whatever index you want to look at, Nigeria has challenges, as with a lot of the world, third world, developing world. Now the question now is, will people running abroad first, everybody cannot run out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If those of us that can, if all of us are, for example, I'm a physician, I'm beyond a physician, I do a lot of things. If I run away with all these my skills, that means who's going to take my place? And I cannot, even if I run away, I can't run away with all of my family. I can't run away with all my friends. I can't run away with all my relatives. So if things go bad, it will still somehow, But let's leave that discussion. We'll still come back to you. Said we cannot finish it. If we have opportunity, but now that people, because one of the things I want to help people to do is that some people run. I think for different reasons. Some people run with the wrong expectation. They run thinking that as soon as they leave the church of this country, that things are going to be very fine. And like you said, I've traveled, I've lived out I've studied out of Nigeria and I've come back, and I still travel, go here and then. I will still travel, hopefully by the grace of God. But as you go about to see, there are a lot of culture shocks. There are things that you go, some people go there just thinking everything is going to be fine, and they get there, wow. They now discover that it is not all you, it's not all rosy. So what are the things from your own experience as a pastor, and even yourself, of course, you have traveled a lot before you left. What are the things that, and as people talk to you, what are the issues that people need to be aware of as the Japa? Everybody will have to make up their own mind. I think that you and I agree that the best place for anybody to be is where God has planted it, where we can prosper anywhere God puts us. But as people go, as they either go by themselves or God send them, whatever, what are the things that they need to be aware of as a traveler? But what are the challenges that they need to think about and be ready?
Okay. Let me quickly say three things before I get into that, and I'll say them briefly. Number one is the fact that I believe that I have a mindset, I have this belief that every human being on the face of the earth will have to relocate at one point in time or the other. Now, the distance is what varies. Relocation might be minor, it might be major, it might be to another country, it might be to another state, it might be to another vicinity, it might be to another environment in your same town, but you would have to relocate whether we like it or not. You have to change your house. So relocation is normal. It's not something to argue with. Everybody will have to relocate. Now, for example, when we look at what happens, let's use the Bible for instance. I tell people there's nobody in the scriptures in the Bible who never had to relocate. Every human being in the Bible. People would say that God told Isaac, don't go down to Egypt, and like your father did. I say, go and read about Isaac. He had relocated when God said, don't move from there. He went to the king of Gerar. God now said, don't go away from that king of Gerar. He had moved. So everybody will have to relocate. You might not just have to relocate. You don't relocate because somebody is relocating. You relocate because it's vital to your own life. It's vital to your living. You are instructed to. You have a desire to. And there's a need to. You see? So now, when people want to relocate, there are many things that we have to know. Let me just say this. Not everyone will move away from Nigeria, of course, or their country. That's for sure. There's no way everybody can move. Some people are so, forget about the fact that they are not even surviving. They are so loyal to the nation that even if they want to die, they want to die there and die in this country. There are people like that, so you can't fight those people. And then there are people who don't have the means, for sure, because it takes a lot. Even from the scripture, it takes a lot to relocate. It takes, funds. When in the Bible, when Jacob told his children and he said, you guys come and go to Egypt and buy food. He said, lest we die. Come and buy food. That means they had some resources. The only thing was that they knew that if they used those resources where they were exhausted and they would likely die. And as a matter of fact, there was nothing to buy where they were. So they had to move to Egypt. They went the first time, they came back. They went the second time, they came back. By the third time, they came to them and said, see, your son is in Egypt, come and move. Jacob had to go. In fact, he had decided to go before God now said, you can go. I want you to go. In fact, you will die in Egypt. Go there. Go and stay there. Don't worry. He felt some kind of loyalty to where he was, the land of Hebrews. What will it look like? A old Jacob. How will people think? Won't it look somehow? God said, move. So I also want to tell people who feel this sense of guilt of trying to move out of the country that there's nothing wrong with it. You can if you are led to. Okay, so when you do, number one, it's important to know why you're going. What's your vision? What do you intend to go there to do? Why do you want to relocate? What's the plan? What's the thought in your mind? For what I usually say this, in everything you try to do, one of the things you must always use as a test kit is your motives for doing it. So what are your motives for relocating? Why do you want? So you have to have it, you need to have it stated down, because if you don't, when you get there, you are likely to get yourself confused. You're likely to derail, and that happens to a lot of people. So you find people who relocate, when they get there, they forget where they're coming from, they forget what they came to do, they begin to live lives that are not worthy and all kinds of things like that. So you must have a good motive for wanting to relocate. Number two is that you must desire it. The truth is, there's nothing wrong with desiring it. Don't have a sense of guilt that, I desire to move. Is it good? What I'm doing, is it fine? No. It's a good desire. If you want to move, it's good to move, okay? And then when you get there, a lot of people think that when they get to a foreign land, they begin to pick money on the ground. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. I don't know where people think, if, as a matter of fact, let me say this. When you get into a foreign land, you are likely to retrogress, as it were, a bit before you can upscale. It will look like things are going a bit down because you're not in your city. You are in another man's land. When the children of Jacob got to Egypt, they had to tell them, go live in Goshen, go live away from the people. They couldn't lay claim on anything at that time. They were like, we are visitors and stuff like that. They had to attend before Pharaoh. People who were kings, who were leaders in their own place, they put their hands at the back, standing before Pharaoh. What should we do? They had no choice. And if you are not humble enough, you cannot travel. Because when you go, you have to be humble enough to know that, see, I'm not going to become a king suddenly. Because some people think that they pluck money on trees. Everywhere you go, you just get money, you just pluck it, you begin to spend. When you get there, you will know how difficult it might be. But you see, the truth is this. At the end of the day, you likely know that I've made a good decision. Because if you stay true to the things, to the reasons, to the motives you had before you came, you will definitely achieve them. I've come to find out, every time people relocate, they have a new drive. It's good to take advantage of that drive. Even naturally, even within your country, when you move to another place, there's this new drive. You feel like, yes, I'm starting again now. Yes, I'm going to put in all my best. I'm going to put the past behind me. And that's what happens to people who relocate too. So if they can take advantage of that, I can assure you, a lot of things would, work well for them.
Okay. You said so many things. Well, I would. The reality, the fact is that the vast majority of people, I know that people may need to move houses, move this, but they are still, most people live and die within a 20-kilometer radius of where they are born. The vast majority of people all over the world, they don't get to move out, because that's how human beings are, unless, especially in this age and time, mass migration, in these days where walls are being built up now. Decades ago, somebody could just do and stroll, even to UK, you could just enter a ship many centuries ago. The passport regime and all that was not as, but now people are building up walls, we are becoming more, but I understand the need that people may want to go to another. Somebody said doctor will never leave as lawyer. I don't think that.
You are very loyal to the mission.
I think that if at all you want to leave or go to anything, it has to be for a purpose. You need to know what you are getting into, and if you want to make a decision, you need to make that decision quickly and get it done. I see people that are bank managers in the social echelon. And then the person just leaves and goes and becomes a taxi driver, right? And says because of the children, so that the children can have good education. And I'm like, are you not having good education? Did you not? You have good education. You and your kids too will be educated, and they can become whatever. So I think, like you said, every man just needs to know what is happening to be convinced. And so, how are you coping with the cold? How are you coping with the cold? Just as one thing, for me, when I went to Israel to study, they said they sent us an email and all that. Said prepare for the cold, come with sweater and is it not Israel? Is it not the Middle East? So I just went with the cold nearly killed me when it became cold. When it's cold, it is cold. And when it's hot, it's really, really hot. When it's cold, in fact, almost snowing. So assumptions. So some people may not even prepare for things as easy as simple as the weather change, right? New diseases, right? And like I keep saying to people, if you Japa without health insurance, you don't take care of your health. You Japa without taking care, you will Japa that. Because if you face all these issues, so so I guess maybe research, knowing where you are getting into, what you are getting into, those things may be important. What for your own experience in Canada? Some people are practicing by going inside the freezer. Canada weather suits me. I will practice. How was it for you? How did it go for you?
Okay, all right. So for me, basically, before now, I'm always usually out of the country. Either for a short break. As a matter of fact, I spend a lot of time outside the country, retreating. That's how I retreat, basically. So coming in here was not anything strange, basically. Even though the cold, I stay in Calgary. The cold in Calgary is something else. We've had to heat minus 40.
Jehovah.
We had to hit minus 40 where you are advised not to even go out. If you do, you're wearing like 6 clothes, and your hands and ears are covered. You get to a level, if you spend 2 minutes outside with your hands, uncovered, you can come in and have frostbite. You can be sure you can damage your hands, you can damage your fingers. It's that serious. However, the truth is, the cold is not an issue, as it were. People survive. You see, nations, let me say this, in my study in national development, we were told, and we have actually also discovered, that the polar regions are more developed than temperate regions in the world. Polar regions of the world are more developed than temperate regions. And one of the reasons they assume for that by research is that the polar regions have more difficult situations to deal with. Now imagine many years ago when there were no houses in Canada, right now even in Canada you have less than 40 million people, in a place that is bigger than the United States of America. It's amazing. So you can imagine, the cold and all the stuff. But imagine many years ago, you'd even have up to 10 million people. And the cold is so much, and you have to know what is happening to your friend 10 miles away. It's the reason why, whether they liked it or not, they had to invent the telephone. They had to invent this, they had to invent that. So it makes them think. When you don't have harsh conditions, we are too comfortable in Africa. We are just too comfortable. The weather is too beautiful. There's no reason to think. There's no reason to plan. There's no reason to force yourself to develop things or to invent things. We are comfortable. Not here. Here you will think well. You will think. You will think because you don't want to die. And that's what you are seeing. That's why they have development. So if they have these harsh conditions, they have also prepared for them. That's the truth. So if you come in, I mean, like I said, whether like if you are not good at code, it won't be funny. Just look for a place where you can be. But in a place like this, the cold is harsh. However, I mean, it's going down now. I mean, we're coming into spring. By the end of this month, we'll be out of winter, get into spring, and then
even your spring is cold.
Even the spring is cold. Thank you. Yesterday -7, -8. But at -7, -8, it's already like it's warm. It's like it's warm. It's warm. You see that you know what that means? Your body has adjusted to the weather. That's what it means. You get to the weather where. Sorry, you said?
I said human beings adapt.
Exactly.
We adapt. We get used to
exactly. So you adapt to the atmospheric conditions. So basically, I don't think that's a big issue. When you come in, most countries that people are going into now, you can expect to survive over time and get your body adjust to the cold, basically.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so there are a lot of things there to unpack. I guess people will pick what they can. So you must prepare for changes. Prepare for. No part of the life here is, for instance, one of the things that I picked up from what you said, maybe not directly, is that there will also be social changes, the circuit, not just like, it's like here now you can just visit, just so you want to go and visit people.
That one is a major one. That one is a major one.
So people I'm coping with solitude, coping with, work life. There's no life, there's no work life. Balance don't come on now. Work. The bills must be paid. To keep that, you say you are eating -40. That to eat that -40, that's Pepe talking. So how are people? How do you cope with the resources, work, making sure that the bills are paid? Well, yeah, there's funding, I guess, maybe debt funding. There's some social infrastructure to support.
Yeah.
Or what do people expect as they seek to Japa social rise and economic rise?
Yes, I understand that many countries, of course, when you relocate, depending on the strain with which you went, I've made preparations for that. For example, some people coming to Canada, coming with their PR, they come in with their permanent residence. And when you come in with a permanent residence, if you came in with a permanent residence, which is maybe the best route for those who come into Canada, the day you are coming in, you are eligible to work. And then your kids, if you have kids, then you come in from day one, they start paying them every month. Every month, they give them allowances for your kids. So you can be sure that you are at least to an extent comfortable. So it depends on the stream with which many people come in. I understand in the UK too, when you come in, I was gonna say this the last time. Everyone, for example, in developed countries, most of developed countries, when you're about to migrate to their country, they enforce health insurance. That's for sure. So you don't have a problem. So when you get into the country, you're already insured health-wise. So I mean, it takes care of any medical, emergencies you have, and that's the same thing in this country. So if you're here with your PR, you get paid that's even if you don't have a job. If you start working and then you lose your job 6 months down the line, the government starts paying you. That's why people are paying tax. That's why these things work. They pay you until you get another job. It's amazing. I mean, my friend was telling me recently, let me talk about the social, relationship thing. The truth is, in a place like I don't know. I mean, I've lived a bit in the United States. I've been to the UK several times. I've lived there for a while. Now, if you are in the UK and the US, for instance, you are still secured. You can be sure that 2 kilometers down the line, there's another Nigerian living there. 1 kilometer somewhere around your house, somewhere in your apartment, there's someone around you can call to and say, "I've been Nigeria, how far now?" Or you go in the mall and then you hear Niger language. Especially in UK, there are places in the UK where you feel like you're in Oshodi. You don't have a problem. Everywhere you pass, you see them talking, "Hey, how far now?" You just feel like I'm at a house. But in Canada, oh my God. Especially where I stay. Let me go where I stay for months. Going to the mall, I'm not sure that I've seen any black person close to where I stay. Not even a black man. Talk less of having to know whether he's a Nigerian or not. Not even a black man. The people who are closest to you probably will be 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers away from your house, because Canada is scarcely populated, and then the landmass is so big. So you have people so scattered far away from you. So if you're that kind of person that likes what we call faji in Nigeria, my brother, you might die of boredom here. That's the truth. One might die of boredom, basically. But when it comes to survival, most likely, depending on this, that's why you have to Japa rightly. You know, when it comes to survival, most likely you will, or the truth is you will survive. That one I know, you will survive, because they have put things in place in such a way that they don't want people to suffer, actually. I mean,
I know, hear you talk, one would think that everything is all rosy, but there are indigent people all over the world. There are people that are, even in Canada, the indigenous people, that's the Indians, the Canadian Indians. From the public health perspective, a lot of historical monstrosities were done, forced relocation of children, a lot of them battling with alcoholism. Yes, maybe the social safety network in Canada is a little bit better than America. America, you are one disease away from poverty, because America, the health system in America is private driven, the social infrastructure. But even in Canada, is it that there are no, everybody that just goes there, but you have said some right things, getting in the mixed correctly, relocating correctly, not going with a visiting visa and then
Doctor, let me say this now. There is what they called it a public notice. Now it's been on since 2019. It was supposed to stop 2021 February. They extended it to 2022 February, okay, to 2023 February. When we got into 2023 February, it's been extended to 2025 February. That if you come into Canada with your visit visa, you are allowed to get a job and stay. Amazing. It's online. It's a public notice.
Okay, so
it's never happened in any country.
So they can Japa now with visit visa. So all of the way now on Japa, Pastor Sam has given you something.
No, it's online. It's online. It's actually online. Yeah. If you have a visit visa and you travel to Canada, you're allowed to stay. It's amazing, beautiful.
But and not you're one of those people that are now queuing up and trying to get PR. So what's the benefit of trying to get PR if you can just get a visit visa and run away with your visit visa?
Yeah, no, you know, when you get there and when you go with a visit visa, of course, it doesn't mean you are yet a permanent resident. Do you understand that? That means if your visa expires and you leave, you might not be allowed to enter anymore. So you want to, of course, when you get in, you will now want to get a stream to stay, to become a resident, because there are still many more advantages. For one who is not a PR, there are public funds you can access. See, the truth is, I understand the fact that we don't want to make people feel like, oh, it's just all rosy here. But the truth is, you can't compare it to where you are. Sir, we have people who are here who are permanent residents. They will just wake up one day in Canada and send you money and tell you it is a climate change allowance. I'm telling you the truth. Yes, you just find money in your account if you're a PR. It is happening live and direct. And everyone will tell you. I know people who have kids, every month they collect money for their kids. I don't want to tell you the amount. It's enough to take care and pay house rent. There's no two way about it. That's a country that is thinking. They are thinking. That's the truth. We have to tell ourselves the truth. See, you know, people say, I understand the fact that when people say something from here, people at home will say, they lie. I'm here now. I can tell you the truth. It's happening live.
Yeah. So we are listening to the apostle of Japa syndrome. It was like we said at the beginning of the program. Everybody needs to make their decision. They need to decide where they need to be. But we know that even if you are going to go scripture, somebody left his country and went there, and the Bible says he began to be in want. And then say I need to go back to my father's house. And a lot of people are going back to their father's houses because they've been there, and like I said, everybody needs to make up their mind, make their decision, and prepare. And I think that's the purpose of this. Yes, people are listening to this now, they are seeing that maybe there are opportunities, but I also know that I met somebody, so that we can strike a balance. I met somebody, right? He's a 5th generation Lebanese, right? His father's great grandfather came to Nigeria, and he's a Nigerian, and the Bible says Nigeria has been good to me. It will never leave Nigeria. And if you go to the airport, you see the Indians coming in. You see the all kinds of people coming in. There's something that they are coming to see, that they are coming to take. There's something that they are getting here. So if it's as far as prospering is concerned, I think anybody can prosper anywhere in the world. Definitely, it's easier in some places than in others. It may be easier to become a billionaire in Nigeria than to jump to Canada and become a billionaire.
I was going to say so. I was going to say so. Now you see, let me even shock you. There's more money in Nigeria than most places, and it's easier, as it were, to become rich in Nigeria than most places. In many countries of the world, either here or in US or UK, your income is streamlined, as it were. There's a way it's monitored, But in Nigeria, let me say this. Let's be sincere. Because of the which word would I use? Because of the lack of being able to stick to rules and regulations, policies, the right policies in the country, you can get away with many things in Nigeria. That's the truth. It's easier, as it were. See, when you talk about Indians, Lebanese, I can tell you categorically, many of them know how to maneuver their way in that country. When it comes to bribe these, give this money, make more money, they know there's money in Nigeria. They know how to accumulate it. They know what they can do. So I'm not surprised. I've been close to many Lebanese. When I was working one time many years ago with the Chronicles, and I was working in Japa, where is a home for Lebanese. Because they will tell you that even you as a Nigerian, you don't know how to maneuver your way. We know what to do. So there are many reasons to it anyway. But I mean, there's money in Nigeria. That's true. There is.
Okay, so the balance, and I think one of the things that we've seen Pastor Sam say to us is that, okay, in developed Western nations, since that there's structure, there's social infrastructure, power infrastructure, it may be easier to live a comfortable life. But that comfortable life makes sure that it determines that, insists, suggests that you will need to keep to a certain structure. You need to contribute your quota. You need to work. I think you will need to work. Everybody needs to work. If you don't work, the chances, and then the job that you go, once you go, if you relocate, especially if you relocate as an adult, the work stream that you will get into, you still need to take some time to get the qualifications that you need. What can you speak to that? Qualifications. How do translation of qualifications? So I'm an engineer here. Can I just go there and start to work in shared?
Okay, so that's one major area. That's why I said when you come into another country, you need to be humble enough, because the truth is what you have where you are may not suffice for where you're going. And that's why I also say that the level of acceptance of our degrees in our countries is so different. I found out here, if you studied in the UK or the US, you are at least a bit more accepted than when you have our degrees from our nation. It's not really respected, as it were. So when you come into this country, for one thing about a place like Canada is, for every single thing you want to do, you need to be certified. So you want to be a carpenter, you go to school for 4 years. You will. You must receive a certification for it. You want to be a plumber, 5 years. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. You want to be this, you want to be that, you must get a certification. So I found many pharmacists, many engineers here, they have to get back, maybe for a while, do some menial jobs and then try to get certified. The moment you get certified, and then there's another major issue in Canada, it's called the Canadian experience. If you want to work here and you don't have an experience, my brother, you will go and start from somewhere. They have solidified that structure in such a way that you can't just penetrate their system and just come and say you want to penetrate. You will go back and do some stuff first to get yourself together. So and then when you come here too, of course, I always encourage people to translate your certifications, your results, get them translated through WES or whatever. So when you get here, you can move into the next stage. You must be ready to keep learning if you're going to move into developed nations like this. It's not a function. It's not like what we do in our country where I don't study. Make I start work. No, here you will keep developing yourself. If you do any course, is likely to expire in 1 year. You will do it again. You see, I found the importance of training in this country. I personally went for it.
If you have questions, please be dropping your questions in the Q&A. Just be typing your questions. We'll take questions now. We have about 15 minutes. And if we don't finish today, Pastor Sam said we cannot finish today, so we made it both a session just to Q&A, how to relocate to Canada. So we can do that maybe in 2 weeks, or how to relocate, relocation sets and stuff like that. For those people that want to relocate, those of us that are staying too, we will pepper them and tell them why they need to come back, how to come back to Nigeria. All right, so please go ahead and type your questions, but we'll wrap up this session at 5. If you don't finish today, we'll continue at another time that Pastor Sam gives us opportunity. All right, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So basically, what was I talking about now? I can't.
Learning again. Go back to learning.
Yes. So you have to go back. You have to go back and study. You have to go back to school. It's very important. I tell people, don't just assume that. I personally went to a Red Cross training a few days ago. I'm still on with the training, and one of the things that opened my eyes to is the desire and the importance of training in this country. Why won't people survive? It was a first aid and CPR training where people are taught, how to rescue people, emergencies, and it expires in just a year. You will do it again. So everybody is at alert, everybody is informed, everybody is trained, and that's how it ought to be. I don't want to talk back, where we're coming from, but I mean, people are.
This is why we do CPR training.
It's you because you see there. You don't even need to be. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to be this before you go for such trainings. There is a public awareness for everybody to do it, so that just in case anything happens near you, you can handle it. You don't have to wait for any ambulance. You can handle CPR. You can handle AED. And all those stuff. So it's important to to get set to learn again. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So do we have questions? If you have questions now, we can take those questions. You can drop your questions in the Q&A. We have questions. Just drop your questions there, and we'll take it there. What are people that want to school? Some people want to go through the schooling route. How easy is it to get admissions? Secondary school, they want to send their children to come to Canada to get. So what are the things? What are the opportunities for scholarships?
Okay, so I tell people that one of the major means of relocating, of course, is going to school, and that you have enough information online. It's not difficult to get a DLI, a designated learning institute. That's one of the things I can help people with. I just started doing that. I just felt a need that let's try and help people, and I just got involved with that recently. Let's see how we can help people. So you need to get a DLI, a designated learning institute. Then you get your admissions, and then of course you go through all the process. If you don't do what you have to do, you'll be denied a study visa. If you do what you have to do, you get a study visa. When you come in for a 1-year program, when you finish, you get if you come in for an 8-month program, you get a 1-year postgraduate work permit. If you come in for a 2-year program, you get a 3-year postgraduate work permit that enables you to get a job and work, and then you can process. You can get a streaming to PR from there.
Okay. So what of secondary school? People that are coming to do undergraduate?
It's just about the same. It's not difficult to get admissions. I mean,
admission is not hard. It's the pepper.
That's it. It's the money. That's it. Whether I like it or you will pay.
It's the pepper to pay through school. Okay, fantastic. So do we have questions? Questions.
I said somebody was trying to ask a question the other time. I don't know if he asked the question.
Yeah, somebody was asking if there will be opportunity for questions, but I'm not sure if the person asked. But I've checked the Q&A sessions part, and there are no questions. So you can drop your questions in the questions section, right? Not comments. So you just ask a question, and we'll be happy to. Okay. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground. We spent 15 minutes there about. What we'll do is we'll take this again, and now we'll go to people. You can start to send in your questions. We'll try to give publicity to this, let people know, and then I will go and prepare. I will talk about 10 reasons why you should not Japa, why you should stay in your. But the important thing, like we said, is whatever you want to do, make sure that you know the reason why you're doing it and prepare. And I think that's one of the things we want to say. People should prepare their minds. And especially some people want to Japa, the Japa to funny country. You just all these things like everywhere is better than Nigeria, anywhere is better than Nigeria, and then they go and they find themselves. I don't want to mention countries now. You find yourself in a war zone, or you japa wrongly. You go through illegal means. Yeah, you run away, and then one day you are caught, you are deported, and you come back home with nothing, absolutely nothing. So some people spend 20, 30 years chasing a dream in a foreign country, and they just discover they've achieved nothing. And then, of course, all the social issues. Some people have traveled. I know some people that the reason why they are not is because of the differences, right? The differences in raising children. You beat your child, you smack your child, you go to jail.
It's wow.
That child, or even if you don't, and some children wrongly after influences from bad people, they call the police on their parents, right? Or they get involved and they become, they change their pronouns, and there's some people cannot do with that. So we need to know what we. So what's your question, Blessing? Blessing Afoji, please. What's your question? I didn't see it. I missed it somehow. I must have missed it. Where is the question? I must have missed it. Blessing, okay, you can type it again, Blessing, or you can just put it in the comment section. I didn't get that question. Right? There are no questions in the comment section. Oh, yeah, Blessing, please ask your question. Let's take it. I think we'll take that question and then we'll end today.
Yeah, maybe they can type the question here.
Yes, type it here. Blessing, what's the question? Okay, can you have the online link? Which one? This one? Yes, we'll post this. If you are asking about this it will be live here, and it will also be on our YouTube channel, Living LTV. I would just like to ask everybody to follow Living LTV. If you have not, go to YouTube, Living LTV. My own handle is at Dr. Adebayo. Right? Let me type it there. You can also follow me on Instagram. So this video will go up right here and there. So that's my handle. You can follow it there. Pastor Sam will be back, and next time we'll give a lot of time for question and answers, so that people that want to go, they can learn and then they can prepare better for when they are going. How you package, how do you process PR? I think those are some things that people are interested in. So
let me say this, Doctor. I usually say this, and I'm being sincere. You see, a lot of times when we address issues like this, the issue is this: we don't address these things from the same point of view. Okay, and this is what I mean. A man who is living in Magodo on the island will see things differently from a person living in Songwater. See, there are two aspects, there are two dimensions to it. Number one, the man who's living in Magodo has a good standard of living, and so he feels, number one, what do I need to go on? So when people is talking of, I need to survive, I'm dying, I need to travel, where are you going to? Nigeria is okay. You see, he's seeing it from another perspective. That's number one. Number two, a man who lives in Magodo and the one who lives in Songo, I'm just using, as an instance, they both travel to the UK. The one who used to live on the island goes there and says, see the UK they have been talking about, it's not even easy. See, now I have to go, I'm going back to my country, I know where I used to live. The one who was living in Songota, who was earning 15,000 per month, gets a job and starts earning 80 pounds per day, or something like that, or 400 pounds per week. That is mega God-given breakthrough.
But you need to know that the person that is earning now 80,000 pounds per week, or 80 pounds for whatever pounds is, the cost of living there is different. It's not the same thing.
Doctor, even if he uses everything to pay house rent, that he even earns it alone has changed his self-esteem. Do you know what he was earning in this country? He was earning 15,000.
But the cost of living is different.
That's what I'm saying.
Work 2-3 jobs just to keep a roof on his head. Just eating alone, to eat his home alone.
Let me tell you one part you need to get. This guy we're talking about was earning 15,000-20,000 in some gutter. He was living in a place where gutter passes through their house. He was eating once a day. He has gotten to a place now, even if he's using 3/4, which is impossible, even if he's using 3/4 of the income to pay house rent and feeding and everything, which is the truth is impossible. Except no, they are not telling us the truth. I can tell you what is going on. People are saving big time. See, I know somebody. Let me not go there because look as if I'm encouraging to just get away. But the truth is, there's a lot of difference.
It's not like that. Okay, but okay. Well, somebody has asked a question. He said, "Is all Nigerians cannot travel out? What is the hope for the ones that are left here?" David has asked that. Because everybody cannot. 200 million people. There's no nation that will absorb 200 million Nigerians. Right? So, what is the hope? I think before Pastor Sam speaks, let me just say that you can prosper anywhere, and that's my. You see, the grass may always look greener on the other side. I have colleagues. I'm a doctor. If I choose today that I want to leave this country, it's just a matter of a few months. I will leave. But I have colleagues that have left, and some after decades want to come back. I've seen they are working hard to come back, trying to come back, establish practices, do things here, do these things there, because there's a difference, right? There's a difference. Yes, there are challenges here, but I tell you, their challenges are not insurmountable. The state that Nigeria is in now, any developed nation that you have all over the earth, they faced it. They had leadership issues, they had socio-economic issues, and with leadership, they overcame them. So I'd say that if we all invested to be the best that we can be, and then try to start to vote, and I think voting, I think we just have some elections. Let's keep up the momentum. Let's start to vote, choose leaders, get people in power, accountable to the led. We will have changes, right? So I'll let Pastor Sam also say his own opinion now.
My opinion. The truth is, I love what that person said. Not everyone can travel out. That's the truth. But let's tell ourselves the truth. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Of course, there are many people who have had to travel out, and are doing so well. There are names that we can mention. When we mention those names, they have become world figures, not because they were Nigeria, but because they're outside the country. It's happening in Nigeria too, but let's tell ourselves the truth. I know we try to defend that. This is what I say. Doctor, let's look at this. I'm not praying Nigeria goes that route. I pray for Nigeria often. I pray for the leaders of Nigeria, even where I am. I pray for Nigeria. I am not, I'll go there later, maybe the next session. But, when I had someone who went to Rwanda years ago, and he said when he got there, the taxi driver who was driving him said, if I had known that a war would start 2 hours before when it started, I would have left the country. He lost his wife and 4 kids to that war. I'm not praying, and we don't ever pray that war will happen in Nigeria. But when people say I cannot travel, it's because you have not seen what will make you travel. That's the truth. When you see it, God forbid, nobody will tell you. You will pack your load. Ask those who went through Biafra, they will tell you pack your load by force and move. However, like we said, there are people who will still stay in Nigeria who will survive. Like I said before, there's money in Nigeria. We know, even we here know there's money in Nigeria. We know, but the truth is, it's not evenly distributed. There's no equality, as it were, and that's because the systems are not right. So even when you try to be sincere, you try to be honest, you are sidetracked. Do you understand? Most people who make money in Nigeria will tell you that the means is crooked, is not straight, and that ought not to be.
That's not a Nigerian problem. That's a human problem. There's inequality all over the world. But there's in UK, in Canada, in America, the gap between the rich and the poor
all over the world.
But wider and wider.
But let's not forget over here that systems work.
Yeah, systems are
reduce the barriers minimum. You drive on the road, you are so sure that there won't be issues because everybody follows the driving systems, everybody follows the rules. Because it doesn't matter who you are. If you go wrongly and you are
Pastor
arrested,
Sam,
you
Pastor
will
Sam
go.
has spoken. Okay, final question today. Before we continue next time, we'll fix the next time. It says, between UK and Canada, which one is more preferable? And what is the difference? Lady Dove, now you should start if you want Pastor Sam to do that too. It's true now, you determine which one is better now. Which one you want? The system, there are different cultures, there are different countries. It's just like saying between Nigeria and UK, which one is better? I think Nigeria is better now. I understand. Answer that question.
So I'll tell that person, it depends on your resources, depends on what you have, on the money you have. Right now, it's a lot easier to travel to the UK than Canada. Absolutely a lot better. As a matter of fact, even the systems within UK is still better than Canada, because when you come to Canada, getting a job right now, it's not easy getting a job at all. Yeah, some have been here 6 months.
Yeah, all of them don't hear. It's not easy to get a job in Canada. If you don't have a job, you're on guard.
Because of the Canadian experience, and then there are too many professionals in Canada. Canada's, I don't know how they did it, but they have brought in too many professionals in their country. When a job is rolled out today, you'd have found 300 people have applied, 400 people have applied. Everybody is a professional. Nobody wants to do the demeaning jobs. Nobody wants to do the menial jobs. So there is a lot more difficult to get a job in Canada than the UK. And then it's easier, at least from Nigeria right now, to move to the UK than Canada. But the beautiful thing is, when you come into Canada, if you stay for a while, you'll be as comfortable as anyone anywhere in the world, either in UK or in the US.
Okay, so we'll continue this discussion. But you see now, he has truly one information that was not there at the beginning.
No, of course, they need to know that. People need to know that.
A lot of people, the jobs that are available are not a professional killer of jobs. So you want to work in McDonald's, okay, that's cool. You want to, even to drive taxi, you need to be qualified. You can't just carry your car.
No, is it not funny to know, Doctor, in Canada here, you can't drive Uber with your normal driver's license. Even with Canadian driver's license, they have classes. There's a class 7, that means you're still learning. There's a class 5, GDL. That means you're on probation with your class 5, with the normal license. Then after 2 years, they give you the normal class 5. That means you can now drive. But to drive Uber, you go for a class 4. That's advanced.
You have heard now. So even to drive, even to come and drive car, it's not easy. So
not to drive
now to
car.
That require a car. You find chin. Anyway, the important thing, like you said, is information. Whatever you want to do, get the right information. If you want to go properly, right? Go the right means. And he has told us that even with visiting visa, for instance, to Canada, you can get on the PR list. Right, UK is their study, but the important thing is and then prepare for all the culture shocks. So we'll have another session, hopefully in 2 weeks' time, another Wednesday like this. If Pastor Sam schedule, I will just work with Pastor Sam. We'll get out with application with the promotion for this one faster, so that we can even do some promotion about it. And people can be aware of it.
Maybe the next one, Doctor, we'll be able to talk about practical ways to move. Practical ways, yeah.
Fantastic.
So what do you do for each of the countries? So that a lot of ways in the hands of people swindle them. So what do you do so that does not happen to you?
Exactly. Someone say pay for this and then you pay 600,000, apply for this. Some people is a cottage industry. They make so much money saying that we'll package it for you. And so people package rubbish and destroy, because once you, especially for some visas, once you've lied,
like Canada, once you get in the wrong profile, you will not get any visa again for life. That's the truth. That's the way it is. Once you get in the wrong profile,
package it for you. They package nonsense for you. The truth is always the best policy, right? Okay, so we'll go practical next week and we'll take questions. So next time, 2 weeks time, by the grace of God keeping us. This is brought to you by Inspiration Republic. Please visit our website, inspirationrepublic.ng. So many articles there, love, life, good news. We think there are a lot of good things happening all over the world. There are unhappy people all over the world, and there are happy people all over the world. Even in Songo, in Shagamu, in Shongotedo, wherever it is, there are happy people. People are making themselves happy. I'm a happy fellow, and I'm right here making myself happy. So thank you so much, Pastor Sam, for this
It's
opportunity.
a pleasure. Please follow Dr. Ben Gadibar. He's my friend. Please follow him. Inspiration. He's doing a lot. I can assure you, you get blessed. Yes.
Thank you. And of course, the TLCians that are here, we are my friends. We've met so many times. It's a pleasure. So thank you so much. Stay blessed. Have a beautiful, beautiful week ahead, and stay productive. Whatever you have time to do, Scripture says, do it with all your mind. Pastor Sam, thank you, sir. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.